Okay, so hello everyone. Thanks for joining us. My name is Asaf Cohen,
And my name is Ofir Kamil.
and so we both work in Maglan, which is a cybersecurity company that was founded 20 years ago in Israel and was acquired a couple of years ago from by Accenture. My current role is actually to lead the red team in Maglan. Before that, I was in Unit 8200. I've been in the cybersecurity field for about 14 years. Phil.
Hey again. So I'm currently a security researcher for Maglan in the R&D team. I used to be part of the red team, doing engagements all over the world for small and large companies. So you must be asking yourself, why did we choose to do a research inside a medical facility, and especially about the security of medical devices? So no. Basically, after seeing ransomware attack hit companies, we were sad, sometimes even sorry for the companies. But when it hit hospitals, we literally want to cry. And since one of our large customers is a hospital, we got a chance to do combined research with him and actually walk around the aisles of the hospital, connecting to the network and checking all the medical devices. So after this 1 month, we can tell for sure that a hospital network is just like any other network. So management, they see patients going in, giving their money and going out. They don't need to fix anything because it's not broken. IT, well, they see their own network. They don't see the medical devices. They don't have authority over there. They see the domain environment, the servers, the workstations, basically for the whole medical devices and the PLCs, which we'll talk about later. We have the biotech team. Patient, when you walk into a hospital, you feel like it's the safest place there is. You don't expect anything bad to happen to you over there. You're going to a surgery to get an x-ray. You just want to go in, do whatever you need, and go out, take a beer, and go to sleep. But after 1 month, we can tell you it's a mess. So we will be talking about basically how we got inside the LAN, what's the potential attack surfaces, what security mechanisms did we see, and we're going to finish off with some self-explanatory pictures of medical devices and PLCs.
So to share from our experience, basically, we do those kind of red team engagements, and what we figured out is actually basically that that hackers can actually have different attack vectors they can use to infiltrate the network. I would say that one of the most common ones are actually the employees of having a social engineering campaign, compromise a workstation inside the LAN, and they basically try to get in. Or, for example, the IT infrastructure, the internet-facing IP addresses, basically to try to hack those and get inside the network. You have more sophisticated attackers where they have partners. They can go through the supply chain, hack those, and abuse the VPN connection to gain access to the target network. You have the whole IoT area, physical presence of actually having a live RJ45 jackpots on the wall, or, for example, all the Wi-Fi networks. So we thought together actually where to aim to in this assessment or in this project, basically. So what we figured out is that unlike a regular company that usually you have an office, like in a building, and you have a receptionist, and you need to have a badge to get into the office, you go to the meeting room and go out, and basically you don't see anonymous people walking around to the office, and the employees basically know one another. As opposed to a hospital, which actually the physical threat is actually much higher. Hospitals are actually public buildings that people go in and out every day. It's pretty common to see people walking around the aisles, and you don't really ask them any questions. For the hospital point of view, the management want to have people approaching, getting treatment, and going out. So for us, basically, to go for this attack vector, which has more probability as opposed to other businesses, it pretty much was a needed thing for us. So we found out many things along the way. The first thing that we did actually, when we started this on day one, we went to the client. Actually, we went to the room of the IT manager. We took down our bag, we opened up the laptop, and then we do what we all do first thing in the morning: drop everything and go grab a cup of coffee. So we went to the cafeteria. And then one of the guys actually opens up on the iPhone, just open up the Wi-Fi card and sees the different networks. I would say that almost all of them were WPA2 encrypted, but one had like a funny name with something Wi-Fi 1. And we saw this looks weird, so we actually opened up a laptop connected to this open Wi-Fi in the cafeteria, and we saw the IP configuration and the DNS suffix that was like, wait, it can't be in the LAN that easily. So immediately went to the IT manager. We say, how come you have an open Wi-Fi in the cafeteria? He's like, can't be, no way, no way. So he went with us, and we actually were able to identify a router that was connected to the LAN, actually exposing the LAN to anyone in the cafeteria. So that was actually one thing. Later on, we're going to discuss about how it relates to more things that we saw that were weird and unexpected in the network. So the next thing after we took the cup of coffee with us to the office and actually started to think about where to go to, because we focused on physical presence, we actually walked down the aisles and we thought, what can we do? So do you know that feeling that you are waiting to get into the doctor and you sit on the bench for like 30, 40 minutes and you see those TVs and you see like those RJ45 jacks just waiting for you and no one had the guts to plug something inside? So luckily we had. We had authority to actually go plug the laptop inside, immediately got DHCP, a valid IP address inside the LAN, and we found out that most or the majority of the sockets were actually hot jacks that you can actually plug, get a valid IP address, and just think about the attack surface. When we walked around the building, we actually saw, as you can see, closet with network equipment that has a pretty much lame lock that you can easily open up and again get into the network. Not to mention that we found beneath tables switches, so a lot of physical presence for hospital, and this is I would say a big threat. So then we thought, all right, so okay, so we know we can plug in the laptop, and the Wi-Fi was an accident. Obviously, it's always an accident. No, it shouldn't be there. So we thought, all right, so what other devices can we hack? And we just walked in the aisle and we saw the TV and we said, okay, that's nice. And then we saw something that just, was pretty much demanding. So when we walk into the hospital, in every aisle, basically, you have this machine, a kiosk machine, that you type in your ID and then you get a number for the line to wait for the doctor. So I said, okay, so this is a device that if the client would have implemented a NAC solution, this device is actually pre-authorized. And we figure out, so how does this device actually do that? Probably has some kind of a backend or a database behind it. So we need to examine that. So actually, this finger is Ofir's finger. Yes, look at that. Apparently, pretty easily, if you're going to do a long press, you get like the right-click button. And by applying actually simple kiosk hacking techniques, you get a command line prompt from that machine. So obviously you type in ipconfig from this device. And sorry for the blur, but the next phase actually, after you're able to execute commands, actually apply the AT command, who am I? And then you find out that you are running on top of Windows 7. The user is actually already logged onto the machine. I don't know why, but it has local administrative privileges on this kiosk. And if you type out who am I, you actually get to see that this is part of the domain. So I don't know exactly why was it implemented in this way, but from this device, we actually were able to go surf the internet, download malicious code, and through that terminal basically perform lateral movement and get domain admin credentials. So within a matter of a few hours, obviously the security level of the network was not as high as expected. So this was quite amazing for us. So within a few days, with physical presence, we were able to get high privileges on the network. So I mean, if we go back to the start where we started this activity, we had like the theory of what we had in mind of what's going to be like to be in a hospital network. But then on the other hand, on reality, we found out that there is actually the basic security mechanisms are actually quite missing. So at the first brief with the IT manager in his office, He opened up a big Visio and he said, this is the VLAN for the nurse, this is the VLAN for the doctors, this is the VLAN for the medical devices, this is the VLAN for the servers. Apparently VLAN, he meant by a subnet. No segregation at all. It was all flat network. Luckily enough, they had an antivirus. Unfortunately, it was not up to date, so I'm sorry for that. So sorry for exposing that like that, but this is the real case. This is what we had and see in the network.
So by this step, you can probably understand we are inside the LAN. We did have domain admin privileges, like Asaf mentioned, within, I think, 4, maybe 5 hours. But we really wanted to focus on the medical devices and on the PLCs. We didn't want to focus on the domain environment, even though some of the servers that are inside the domain are talking to the medical devices, which we extend now. Who is in here familiar with the DICOM protocol? Okay, not a lot. So DICOM stands for Digital Imaging and Communication. This is basically one of the protocols that is being used by digital imaging devices such as X-ray machines or CT machines to transmit all the information from the machine to the PACS server. The PACS server is sitting under this configuration inside the domain, and that's basically being used when you sit with your doctor after you take your X-ray and you want to examine it, so the doctor's workstation actually pulls the image from the PACS server. We can see here, we performed a small man-in-the-middle attack, and we can see that the DICOM here is not encrypted at all. Everything is clear text. This is from a mammography device. DICOM can be encrypted, either anonymizing the data by encrypting only the patient details or encrypting everything, basically. So the next two machines have a funny story behind them. Every time we needed to walk into an operation room in order to examine a machine, we basically had to wear the pants and the shirt, like the green ones you see. Only this time, just before walking inside the operation room, they also gave us mouth covers and hats. So we didn't quite understand why, only until we went inside to a live operation. So basically, we had to walk to a back room. We had to watch out not to step on any airlines or anything like this. And when we got to the back room, we saw this machine, and the next one we're going to talk about later. This is a brain surgical navigation system. Anyone ever saw something like this? Okay. So basically, in complex operations, where you don't want to open up someone's calls in order to perform the operation, you can use this system. It's for brain surgical navigation and also spine. So this device must be connected to the LAN during the operation because it synchronizes with another device, which we'll see later, the portable CT device. We did have only physical access for this device. We saw OpenSSH port from the network, but we didn't perform any brute force attacks because we figured out the password is going to be easy, but we don't want to do it. What we were able to find, for our surprise, is that after popping up a terminal on the device physically, it's talking to Google. I mean, it can talk to Google. It sending ping and respond. So we took that screenshot to the biotech, the head of the biotech, and asked him, how is it possible? And his answer was, well, that's not possible. We deleted the DNS servers.
True story.
Yeah. So that's me. Moving on to the next device, this is basically the same device. It's just split it into two devices in order to be more portable. This is a portable CT device, which is also being, it was in the same room. It's being used in the same operations. It's synchronizing between the CT and the navigation system in the complex operations. So this device, other than popping up a CMD window on it, like making some kiosk hacking, actually scanning it from the network revealed us a few high ports, interesting ports. We didn't understand at first what it was. But after doing some more investigations, we found open VNC server without any authentication. Basically, during an operation, this device is connected to the LAN. Open VNC server is running, listening. You just connect to it. This is not during an operation, obviously. But the device also stores historical exams with patient names, patient IDs, the dates of the exams, and as you can probably see, images taken, digital images taken while the operation. The device also sends everything to the PAC server, so we really don't understand why everything needs to be saved locally on the device.
So at that point, basically, we said, all right, we found many things. Among the different devices that we have found, we found many PLC devices. PLC are devices that actually control other devices, pretty known in the OT networks. So for instance, just to show you example of what actually those PLC can control of which kind of systems. So in here you can see basically two systems. On the right hand side you can see the front end of an air conditioning system to the operation room. Okay, so you have the surgery room and you have the air conditioning to those rooms. You see here the temperatures. And so example, in this system, the backend rely on PLC to control that. Another example is actually on the left side, you can see the gas pumps of the oxygen and other medical gas. This is again being controlled by the PLC that can turn them on and off. So from a network perspective, this is what we see basically. So in here you can actually see the physical PLC device as being on the different in the server room, and you can see the wires that can actually turn on and off the device. And you would expect this kind of device to be quite dumb, I would say, but doesn't host a lot of services. But from a network perspective, this device actually have a lot of services that are open up. For example, if you're going to go with your browser to port 80 and surf in plain HTTP, not encrypted to this device, you actually have this view. Okay, so in the browser you can actually have an emulation of the device itself. And those buttons on the browser actually are emulation, because when you click it, it physically actually gonna be presented on the physical PLC. So we had one actually playing with the browser buttons, and we can actually see the PLC arrow going up and down. So just to recall about what we started at, having a open Wi-Fi in the cafeteria, and we connected that and the network is flat, just imagine what impact can it have for someone to log into the Wi-Fi network on the cafeteria and actually connect to the PLC devices that control the gas pumps. But obviously, in order to actually turn things on and off, you got to go to the system configuration, הגדרות מערכת, which is in here. Sorry for the Hebrew. But once you try to get into the system configuration, you have a technician passcode that you need to insert. So as you can see, this is 7 digits long, so we get like 9 million something possibilities. So we said, all right, so let's go and sharpen up our Python skills and build up a brute force to do it. Obviously, this is not going to be, I guess, monitored. This is just a small PLC, no auditing, no monitoring whatsoever. So we said, okay, before we're gonna go and work hard with Python, let's write the manual way. We started with 0. Didn't have any success. 1, okay, everything was good. So apparently all the PLCs were configured by the one that implement those. All the different PLCs can be compromised with a password of 1. And once you get here, you get to the system configuration, you can actually set and turn things on and off. And again, thinking from how someone can start from the Wi-Fi position, quite scary. The next device is basically an EKG device, which I guess you know. So this is how it looks like. And again, you would expect this device to be stupid and not to be connected or maybe expose some stuff. So we started again by scanning it, and we found out that there is an FTP server. So we tried to log in. Anonymous didn't work. That's good to know. But we did took the banner and actually put it on Google, and we got the manual. And so the next phase was to try the default password for that. And we were able to get into the FTP service, actually downloading and uploading files to this device. So that's nice, but I mean, it's not, it's nice to have. But then we kept on going, and we were able to connect to port 23, which is a kind of a telnet. This is a proprietary CLI. When you actually open a connection to that, you get a black screen, and it gives you nothing. But because we had the manual, we can actually know the protocol and actually use its commands like auth, the username and password, and then inside this proprietary CLI, we saw the different commands, and then we thought, all right, so because we have experience with IoT devices, pretty much in the simple steps, we're able to find the command injection vulnerability and actually execute code by the operating system. So this is the output of the ls command from the device. So obviously, this device, once you get this command injection vulnerability, you get root access on the device. So just to think about it, if you have a way to upload and download files and be able to execute commands as a root, basically you get full control over the device. So we kept on investigating that, and we found out that the processor is a standard one, an ARM. And again, based on our experience from IoT, we actually took code, cross-compiled it to ARM, uploaded it to the device, and we can demonstrate that we can execute code. So just think about the possibility for an attacker to actually compromise this device completely. I mean, let's think from hacker perspective. If we're going to set up a malware in here that will get a connection to the internet, and we can attack the network through this device. I don't know which one of your forensics friend have ever done a forensics investigation on this kind of device. So obviously this is a good place to hide at an attacker point of view. But another thing to think about is actually what can happen if we're going to download the binaries, actually reverse engineer it, patch it a little bit, and upload it again. Just think about the impact of someone that is actually ill coming, and you're going to use the compromised EKG system that's going to give false results that will actually give, everything is all right, go back to your house. Or, for example, what can happen if a healthy person will go get those EKG tests, and actually someone's going to freaked out of the result and going to send it straight to the operation room to have surgery. So that's a thing to think about. So, I mean, after 1 month of being there, again, the expectations and what we thought we're going to find and the thing that we did find are actually, there is a big gap. What we figured out is that in this hospital, and after having this few discussions with people and hearing the conference, apparently more or less the same in other hospitals, we found out that you have a big hospital with many servers and a complete domain operation to work for, small IT staff that handle all day long with the IT network. As opposed, you have the medical devices that are being maintained by the biotech technicians. And those devices are not part of the IT network. Even moreover, you have the vendors that say, please don't connect those devices to the domain so they will not get any group policy or something went wrong. It's all functionality oriented. So the technician do perform firmware update on a regular basis to get better functionality, but they don't do it from a security aspects. Which means that the bottom line is that we have medical devices that actually have IoT capabilities on the one hand, but on the other hand, their security level is actually 10 or 5 years behind of the IoT that we see today. So this is a big risk on being in the hospital, so be safe.
So what's next? We still have many more devices we didn't get to check yet. And we want to raise awareness regarding the whole medical devices, medical device security in hospitals, because these are, like Asaf said, are basically IoT devices that are not being treated as today's IoT devices. Today, most of the IoT devices are being tested for security. These aren't. These are only pure functionality. So we want to keep the research and we want to raise the awareness. We want to say thank you to Niv, Sharon, and Oran from Maglan, our colleagues. They really helped us. We don't think we could have done this without them.
Seriously.
And that's it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Asaf and Ofir. Do we have any questions for them?
They're all shocked.
Yeah, I think they're all
Here you got
shocked.
one.
There's a question, yeah.
So you have found some telnet banners and signatures of devices. Have you also checked show done if anything appears there, like from the internet?
You want to answer?
Yes, so there was no European pin, nothing popped up to the internet. It was all listening behind the NAT and nothing, we didn't see anything. We searched Jordan for the IP ranges of the hospital.
Did the hospital fix everything?
Undergoing. I mean, we're working with the client.
Can you give us the name of the hospital? No. Okay, thank you.